for you. I'm a lethal killing machine.
Always believed in freedom of the press.
Excellent work. Quit now, and cake will be served.
I mean, who doesn't enjoy cake?
I am the instrument of justice, and I cannot fall.
Hi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gamestack Podcast. This is episode 132, Damestack. I am Shaline, and joining us today, we do not have a full panel of dames, unfortunately, due to some schedule conflicts and some illness, but we do have today the lovely Jessica Starr. How you doing, Jess?
Hey, Shaline. Doing great, thanks. How about you?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. It was a week. I tell you what. It was, let me tell you. It was a week.
I cannot wait to hear about it.
7 days have passed. And I'm glad that those 7 days are gone, and I hope I never see them again. I hated them. They were
Luckily,
horrible days.
The linearity of time, I think that's going to work out. I think you'll be okay.
Excellent. Most excellent.
Yes. You won't be dragged back in time.
I would hate that so much. Those are the lovely dulcet tones of Sherrie. Hi, Sherrie.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good. I was sneaking in a bit of No Man's Sky this morning. And then I'm sorry, I'm a little bit late.
That's okay. That's quite all right. I am just working on remembering how to add your camera to this thing. We're doing that. We're doing it live. So
There is nothing wrong with doing it alive, especially when Vendor is away. So right now, Vendortron's ill on overseas. Where is he at?
Yeah, Vendor is in Copenhagen right now, which is really, really, really cool. He is presenting his research internationally, which I just find incredibly exciting.
That is so cool. I remember we were talking about scientific conferences and the difference of how you enroll for that, but actually getting to go overseas and present your research to your peers, that's got to be awesome.
Right? Yeah,
Plus,
I love it. I'm very excited.
Getting
about
some
it.
great pictures too. I'm checking the Discord right now. It seems like he found some time for adventure. Oh my goodness. For people in the Discord, he is on the seaside. He is in the mountains. He is looking at cool cars. Wow.
I have completely just blanked on my ability to be able to make this work.
If you add, I assume you're doing window capture. So add new element, scene element, window capture.
Okay.
And then tell it which window and crop it.
Okay, so a window capture? That's where I was going wrong. I was doing a display capture. Window capture.
No, don't need a full screen, just window, and then you can tell it which one.
And we're going to do zoom. Where's the zoom? Which one of these is it? Edge, zoom. This is the worst podcast of all time, potentially.
This is just the intro. It's not going to be out there on the audio version, y'all. You guys, you're getting an exclusive scoop. Lee, Taz, the Knack, Knack. You're getting an exclusive scoop tonight of the behind the scenes action.
Oh my gosh.
And then Shaline leaves us into
so bad. It's so bad. Oh my gosh. So, this is what happens when Vendor isn't here. I just I don't know what I'm doing. It's been so long since I've been the one responsible for doing these parts of the podcast, and I'm sorry. But you won't have to go through this next week because I'm not going to be able to do a podcast at all. Vendor's still away, and I am also traveling for work, so I won't be here either. If I get home in time, I might pull together a stream or something for you, but we won't be able to do an episode of Gamestack. I did want to also mention that we are sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee, and you can visit www.oakandcrow.com to purchase a bag of We Just Love Coffee. $2 from every purchase goes to the Children's Miracle Network. And of course, we would like you to support the show by telling your friends, share the show on your social media, etc., etc. We always like to welcome new folks to the Discord. And this week we have one new person in our We Just Love Games Discord. Jess, who's new to the Discord this week?
Why, that would be Rhino Man. And I think he was number 419 on the stack this week.
Really?
Yep.
419. That is amazing.
That means next person to come into the Discord will be 420.
Ah, that's okay. That's a whole event. I feel like
there will be celebration in the lobby, like actual lobby con party. The gifts will come out of like the gift channel. Fill in. It'll be horrible. It'll be great.
That is amazing. Yes, we will definitely. If you want to be member 420 of the Discord, how could you do that?
Why, you could look at the link in the channel notes. I don't know what you tell people, Shaline. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can just click the link here on our Twitch channel. That link is live, whether or not the show is live. So you can just click that link at any time. And alternately, you can send us a message on social media, and we will we'll send you the link. I'm so sorry. I'm still trying to figure this out.
You know what? No one minds us just not worrying about the podcast right now, saving those notes for when it's time, and getting Sherrie on the screen.
Okay, let's just take a little break
the
here.
Stuff I'm trying to work out
fix
too.
this. This is
Thank
ridiculous.
You, dolls. Thank you, lovelies.
Oh
Everybody
my
in chat.
Gosh,
Mr. Joseph Tao, how was your day? You guys, tell me about your week. Tell me about your day.
I used to do this all the time.
Oh, this is Twitch.
Why doesn't it work anymore? Okay.
So I'm not sure. I haven't really been watching what you were doing.
Okay, let me look.
I mean, I was some, but
at what is going on.
Yeah,
so
if you right-click any of those.
I'm going to look at this. This is properties. That is a display capture of the primary monitor.
Interesting way to do it.
I will edit this out of the podcast.
Maybe you can just look at how I'm currently being captured.
Properties, automatic display capture. It's the same.
So he's doing display capture. So he's grabbing the entire screen.
That's what I'm doing. I bet Vendor's doing something better.
You can definitely do that though. No, that'll work.
How?
And then how do
I crop her?
Once you have it on screen, you hold down Alt.
Okay. So I'm holding down Alt, and then this
on the
green
edge.
bit is
yes. The green line is the crop line. You can use the green line.
So we're gonna bring this up. But the green line, it's not doing anything, Jess.
See, the red line is the size of the entire thing. Shift will skew it, and Alt allows you to crop in.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to. It would be glorious. It would be magnificent if we could do that. But this green line is completely non-responsive.
Well, it should only show up when you're holding down Alt and you go over where the red line is. Like the red line will turn into a green line when you're holding Alt and you.
Wait! We figured it out. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
We figured this out.
Yep. The red is resize and green will be cropped. Yeah, you got it.
Oh my gosh, we're doing this. We're gonna get this done. Oh my gosh, it's just been a really long time, and I thought I'd be able to just throw it together like a professional, because I used to be able to do that kind of thing. You guys, I might include this as outtakes in the audio version.
Well, you're a professional to me because I'm clueless about all this sort of stuff.
Thank you, Sherrie. I love you too.
Yes, I was just telling her what a professional she was. Absolutely, like before the show, total professional.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Gamestack Podcast.
Part 2.
We did it. Oh my gosh, we did it, you guys. Thank you for your patience. I promise to edit that out of the original. Oh my heavens to Murgatroyd. What a disaster. What were we doing, Jess? I don't even remember.
Heavens to Murgatroyd. I think we were going to welcome the new person in the Discord, Rhino Man. Welcome, Rhino Man. And then we were going to talk about what we're going to talk about today.
We're going to talk about some news, and we're going to talk about the games that we're playing, and we are going to talk about the games that you are playing, because I did successfully set up the slideshow. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. And it's going to be grand. We have some mail on the mail stack. and it's a spooky mail. I'm very excited. But we're gonna start out with the news. I used to have a news bumper, didn't I?
Din,
I do.
din, din, din,
Hold up,
din,
hold up,
din, 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 din.
3, 2, 1. This just in. I forgot that this segment even had a name. I'm so flustered, you guys. Shout out to Joseph Tao. He, unlike me, has his stuff together and he helps us every week putting together the news. He's the best. We love him. There was a lot of drama this week in video game news, and I wasn't sure how deeply I wanted to go into things, but I thought, let's just tackle some of these really controversial stories that have popped up because it's what we're talking about, you know? So Bayonetta 3, right? Bayonetta 3 is has it released yet, or is it about to release?
It is about to release. It is not yet out.
Release. So Bayonetta 3, very beloved, this series by a group of people. I am not among this group of people. I've never played a Bayonetta game. But the controversy stems from the voice actor for Bayonetta herself. Bayonetta was Helena Taylor was the voice actor for Bayonetta in the first 2 games. But she states that she did not reprise the role for Bayonetta 3 because she was only offered $4,000 to reprise the role, which she did not believe was enough. And it was a little, I feel like we didn't have the whole story in the beginning
It was
of this.
apparent from the beginning that we didn't have the whole story. And the way that it was done, as in a series of 3 tweets of about a little 2-minute video of her talking and explaining, who she was, what she did, and why she was no longer going to be playing Bayonetta. And then in the second one, she goes and calls for a boycott of the game and everything about it. And then she goes on to talk about the current voice actress and other such things. It was a bit intense. It did throw a lot of us for a loop. And in fact, it caused a frenzy on social media.
Yes, and she did throw some shade at Jennifer Hale, who is the new voice actress for the role. And I thought it was really interesting how intense this was. She stated that this offer was an insult, and that the amount of time that she took to work on her talent, everything she's given to the game and the fans, she didn't want the world. She was just asking for a decent, dignified living wage. But of course, it's a complicated thing because doing voice work, it's not really comparable to ordinary by the hour jobs. It's really a different thing. Archon in chat mentions that 4,000 was the SAG-AFTRA minimum amount, but
Sort of. Yep.
I feel like we need to kind of skip ahead a bit.
Yeah.
To really
Let's break it down there. So she made the reveal and basically did this series of tweets saying, I'm not reprising the role. I was only offered 4,000 for the role, and explains that initially she was given an offer by Kamiya, one of the producers, and by the studio, responded that it wasn't enough, wrote to Kamiya directly. He responded back saying that, appreciated everything she'd done for the role and made her another offer, which she said was 4,000. She said that was insufficient, didn't take it, and then fast forward to someone else getting the role, all that. So we did feel that wasn't the entire story, and people started doing the math, doing the breakdown. Like Archon mentioned, the SAG-AFTRA minimum, a voice actor, like you're kind of inferring, pay rates vary. So a lot of non-union workers, they'll get $250, $300 an hour for sessions. Your usual session is 4 to 6 hours in a day. For SAG-AFTRA for union workers, I guess the base rate, from what I've seen, and I've seen this quoted many places from their tariff, from their contract, and it's looking like $995 to $1,000 day rate, and then you also get a retainer fee and stuff like that. So $1,000 a day for a usual 4-hour day. Okay, if this was going to be over 4 or 5 sessions, then 4,000 actually hits that union minimum. But then you come at it. What is the actual value of the actress and what she's done for the role? This is a large game, a AAA game, not the most successful, but like you said, beloved. She's reprising the role. Each time you assume that someone's going to be getting more money. And the idea of whether or not this is a sufficient amount is kind of a different argument.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? From, the amount, is it worth it or is it appropriate? Or maybe two different things.
Right, right. And plainly what we see here is that the company was not valuing her time in the same way that she did.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And absolutely, it's important that you know your own worth and that if she did find this offer to be an insult, she made the right decision for herself to step away. But I do want to add a little bit of context. I spoke with someone who does voice work professionally. And the 4,000 is pretty standard for an audiobook. That's about what this person who does voice work would get for an audiobook, which is a pretty similar investment of time to what this project would be. So I just a little bit of interesting context. I did want to move on to the next step, which of the story, which was Jennifer Hale's response. Taylor kind of went for Jennifer Hale. I feel like she took it a little bit personally that someone else did accept this role. And Hale responded via a Twitter statement. I'm just going to read it to you guys. With regard to Bayonetta 3, as a longtime member of the voice acting community, I support every actor's right to be paid well and have advocated consistently for this for years. Anyone who knows me or has followed my career will know that I have great respect for my peers and that I am an advocate for all members of this community. I am under an NDA and am not at liberty to speak regarding this situation. My reputation speaks for itself. I sincerely ask that everyone keep in mind that this game has been created by an entire team of hardworking, dedicated people, and I hope everyone will keep an open mind about what they've created. Finally, I hope that everyone involved may resolve their differences in an amicable and respectful way. With love and respect to you all, Jennifer Hale. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I really appreciate about Hale's statement is that she is trying to point out the fact that this game is about much more than the voice actor for the protagonist. This game was made by a team of people who will suffer if this game is boycotted. And
Indeed.
Yes, she is looking out for the entire dev team here in this tweet. And that was something that I definitely respected.
Beyond that, referring to her reputation and referring to NDA, which Taylor did mention that she was breaking NDA by saying that in the first place. So we're already woo. And, Jennifer Hale not being able to respond initially for the first day or two as things ballooned because, she didn't want to be inappropriate, caused a lot of supposition. But I think most people who know her reputation, who know the actors, knew that there was more to the story, as you said, and that most likely Jennifer Hale would not take a role without knowing what had happened previously. So my assumption personally, and I think others, were that either the pay was appropriate or we were not getting the whole story.
Absolutely.
And to go on to the next bit, you have a little bit more about that, right?
Yes, there is one more thing, as Columbo might say, like two people in our audience got that reference. Bloomberg reported through the investigative journalism of Jason Schreier, who is someone who frequently breaks this type of news. He stated in his Bloomberg article, we are reading a My Nintendo News article because we don't subscribe to Bloomberg. But Jason Schreier has stated that he has seen a document with written evidence that Helena Taylor was offered $15,000 for her role in Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, approximately. It said 3,000 to 4,000 per session. So if that 4,000 number was not for the role, but per session for 4 or 5 sessions, that's between 15 and 20.
Yes, $3,000 to $4,000 for 5 per session for approximately 5 sessions. So this definitely shows that we are not seeing the full story. And Bloomberg states that they have spoken to 2 people who are familiar with the discussions around the payments for voice acting for Bayonetta 3, and the accounts are very, very different than what Taylor is stating. They stated that Platinum Games wanted Taylor to be on board for 5 sessions, with the pricing set at $3,000 to $4,000 for each session, and the payment would be at least $15,000. But she asked instead for a 6-figure sum and residuals on the Bayonetta franchise, which she was refused, and then they decided to audition for a different voice actress. So that's
Quick
just a
note on
very
that.
different story.
Some people are saying it's he said, she said as well. You know, I am seeing that with some people commenting there. And well, until we know, we should go with the aggrieved. But I do think it's important to say Jason Schreier is reporting this. Also, I've seen an article on VJC from Separate Reporting, not just copying his story. And as a journalist yourself, Shaline, you know, there's a difference between an anonymous source and a source remaining anonymous. And this is actual stuff they have seen from a legitimate source verified that chose to remain anonymous. And that is much more, that's not he said, she said. That's not like a tipster.
Yes. Speaking of reputations that speak for themselves, love him or hate him, Schreier is good at getting the dirt. This is what he's built his career on, and he tends to be very reliable in terms of getting this information. And I feel like, personally, this is just me speculating. I have no input here, but I feel like the fact that one of the things Taylor really focused on in her complaints was the fact that she wasn't getting residuals, that she hadn't been offered residuals, which of course residuals it is basically similar to what's it called? Royalties. Thank you, Jess. And I the fact that she was very focused on that in her complaints, and that's something that was brought up by the Bloomberg report, that gives it a ring of authenticity to me. So
it does. And you have it in the notes, and it's something we've discussed before too, that residuals aren't even something offered to the majority of devs on a project. You know, some people have scaling things. If the game sells this well, you get a bonus of this much. If the game sells this way, you get a bonus of this much. But it's not guaranteed. It's not industry standard practice in a lot of cases. And speaking of Jennifer Hale, back in the 2016-2017 voice actors strike, you know, she was one of the main people advocating. And one of the things that they were working towards in new contracts, you know, kind of overall blanket contracts in the company, like standards to go by, were residuals. And at the time, they got a lot of capitulation, and they did get stuff hammered out, like we're talking about, you know, standard union rates. However, they did not get residuals in that time. And, you know, there's a reason for it. So, yeah, that's a big ask on her part. I get that she originated the character. I do think it's a shame she's not voicing it. But as we know, I think really if we learned anything from this story, it's that, you know, make sure to take time, think critically, and listen to both sides of what's going on first. It makes sense to jump in and defend someone, work for them, but don't then take that and attack someone else until you know more.
Absolutely. And it is important to be realistic. If it is true that Taylor asked for 6-figure income for this part, Bayonetta is a popular game. It's not that popular.
No. It's pretty great. I mean, it sold a good, you know, couple million copies, right? 1.5 million, 2 million.
I believe the franchise has sold 4.5, I saw somewhere.
Oh, that's higher than I thought. I would have guessed 2
so
million.
That's both games. But that's still not the kind of numbers where I would expect the voice actors to be getting a 6-figure income.
Yeah.
And of course, residuals is a huge thing. We did have some Joseph Tao commentary on this that I wanted to share. Joseph says, so far this story just shows me that I don't want voice actors to have a chance at residuals without the devs getting some form of them first.
Nice, Joseph. Yes.
He raises a good point, because many voice actors will spend 20 to 40 hours voicing a character, and he can't imagine giving them residuals when devs spend thousands of hours on their one small part of a game, and they are not getting that as well.
That is a good point.
Yeah. While we can't confirm, I think that we definitely do see evidence that we haven't seen the whole story, and we will share more as things continue to progress. I do think that Taylor made a very big mistake in breaking that NDA.
Yes.
I feel like she's potentially tanked her voice acting career.
Yes.
I
You know, things may happen separately, but you do have to wonder how that's going to work. I mean, especially if she is part of the union attacking another union member. And once again, I mean, as far as the comments towards Hale, it was shade. It wasn't actually an attack. It was, I wish her all the best roles. I wish her the best in the future, but this is my character. So it was more staking claim than it was attacking,
right.
but it was definitely shady.
I just don't think this is going to go the way that she expected it to go.
No.
It was a bad career move, in my opinion. So, you know what else has proven to be a bad career move for lots of people? Working at Rooster Teeth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go into this one too. And this story, I feel I took this story a little bit personally because I've followed Rooster Teeth for a long time. Red versus Blue was very important to me when it was new, and this community, the Rooster Teeth community, was very, very important to me during some of my earlier days on the internet. And watching this whole thing unfold, it really grossed me out, Jess. It really grossed me out. I don't know if you, Jess, or you, Sherrie, are particularly invested in Rooster Teeth as a company.
I am not particularly invested. I mean,
No, I've known of Rooster Teeth forever. I mean, I've enjoyed some of their content throughout the years, but I'm not invested. I haven't looked up their content actually for some years now. They're part of my more internet earlier days.
Right.
yeah. I mean, there's Achievement Hunter. There's a number of different groups under the Rooster Teeth banner. My favorite Rooster Teeth property was actually the one that Ashley and Jen and then Mika stepped in and did for a while, which was a more news related show from their perspective. And I actually enjoyed that, but it didn't do as well, and they didn't continue it.
Yes, I loved that show as well. Yeah, really enjoyed that. But it is a big company, and there have been a number of scandals in the past of different natures, but this recent one involves, it's a little different. A former director for Rooster Teeth, and I'm not actually sure how to pronounce this person's name. I should have done that research. Is it Kaden? Kaden Jensen?
I think so. I think Kidin.
Kaden?
Yeah, for some reason I think there was a Z in there too, but no.
Kaden Jensen made a post recently stating that they had been grossly underpaid and overworked, and that they experienced an environment in which they were regularly and repeatedly called a homophobic slur. And this is not a word that they were using in content, but they had a substitute word that everyone knew meant the same thing as the homophobic slur. So this went on for years at Rooster Teeth, and HR was approached, and nothing came of that. Kadin stated that they worked in crunch, 16-hour work days, and she was paid approximately $40,000 a year. And the next lowest paid person was about $30,000 more than that. So it was a huge wage gap between. She was by far the lowest paid person at the company, and that's not even all of the abuse that this person went through. And I can't even, I don't know how deeply I want to go into this, but after Kadin's post, there were a lot of other posts that started to come out.
Exactly. Kadin did the twit longer and did a large explanation about what had been going on, and it did kind of open the floodgates. You mentioned Mika, and who had actually talked about things before a bit, but that opened the floodgates for her as well, right?
Yes, Mika Burton had worked for Rooster Teeth in the past and left the company because she was experiencing a good deal of racism. And it was always kind of, it was never explicitly stated, but it was always kind of understood that this racism that she was experiencing came primarily from the community. But it turns out that wasn't the case. She stated that she left because of the company, not because of the community. And she described an incident in which the N word was written on the board in one of the rooms. Just there's no reason for that to ever happen. I can't imagine. I can't imagine why someone would have done such a thing. There is no
That's
reason.
appalling.
That makes sense. It is appalling. I just, this situation with Kadin really, it brought up a lot of Mika's experiences, and I noticed a lot of people chiming in with their own experiences with this company. And not everyone was naming and shaming the way that Kadin did, but
Right.
they were all corroborating these stories. I personally read dozens of accounts of former employees of this company corroborating that this kind of behavior was tolerated and potentially even encouraged, and that visits to HR were fruitless. And there was one incident in which Kadin described that she went to one of the company's founders to try and see if she could resolve anything, and was told, "You're too nice to work at Rooster Teeth. You should work somewhere else."
Yeah, that says a lot right there. That says, like, we recognize the culture, we embrace the culture. I'm sorry, this is how we are.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, is not the
That's
best
a
response.
huge red flag.
It really is. And the thing, guys, it hurts me so much that this company that I really cared about at one time in my life reacted in the way that they have, which was a very non-apology. They posted an apology to Twitter that said absolutely nothing. It was a lot of words with no content behind them.
It was a we'll do better. It was a we've improved in the last couple of years. Prior to that, we admit that we're not improving, and we were maybe not the most comfortable place to work for a significant number of people. And so it was like, yeah, we've done wrong, we'll do better, which, I mean, that is a thing. That is a good statement, but it would be nice if it wasn't like the people at top saying, yes, we have already improved, and other people could say the same.
Yeah, it was very much, yeah, sorry. Okay, bye. And an apology for misconduct at this level, it just can't come with words. It has to come with actions. Pay these people the back pay that they're owed. Pay restitution for pain and suffering. Let's see some concrete actions. Let's see your new policies that are in place to prevent this type of behavior from happening to new employees. Let's see some action and not just words. But the only action that we've seen is that they're cutting down on their content this week, which of course is an obvious choice.
To be expected, maybe
Yes.
for the best. Let's reevaluate certain things. Let's look at, where we staff and how, and, the actual tone and tenor of our shows. Have we actually improved like we just told everybody we did? Maybe take some time to reflect. Yeah, sounds good. As not a huge Rooster Teeth watcher, I don't have any insight on this or opinion outside of the fact that it sounds pretty bad. It's disappointing. And I feel, having watched Rooster Teeth for a while, like you, that it's a number of different boys clubs that kind of came together and perpetuated the culture, and very much the gamer culture of the mid 2000s. And they did not grow and change with the times like some other places who realized, hey, wait, maybe we are a bit too frat house. A lot of large outlets have done that. But as one of the earliest kind of fan-run, self-starter, podcast shows, videos, machinima kind of outlets that grew at the level and rate they did, they did not make that change like larger outlets. Like, okay, here's something. For instance, I'm a big fan of the podcast Unlocked podcast. Okay.
Yes.
And the first year or two of that it was on IGN, I tried to listen once or twice. I'm an Xbox fan. I could not listen. I felt
Yeah.
excluded.
Did you
It was
listen back in the Three Red Lights days?
no. Oh, I mean, maybe a couple
That
times.
show used to be called Three Red Lights, and it was really bad.
I think I caught some clips. I mean, that's when Scoop was starting, and that was a little better. But yeah, Podcast Unlocked, I tried a few times and couldn't get into it at first until Ryan came in and brought a level of professionalism that seemed to embrace things, and it was no longer a boys' club. And I feel like that never really happened to a lot of Rooster Teeth properties. A lot of these groups, they didn't have that moment where they're like, wait, we should be more inclusive, not just by bringing people in, but also embracing them, which,
Yes.
as we're seeing, they brought people in, but did they treat them appropriately?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it.
They didn't include them, and in many cases, they didn't even pay them. So there were multiple reports of people doing work that was not paid for. So yeah, that's unacceptable on so many levels. But I just hope to see them come out of this with some actual change. I would like to see actions. Show us what you're doing. Show us what you have done and what you are doing to improve things. Otherwise, I don't think this company can continue. That's my opinion, anyway. I don't know. Speaking of companies that won't continue, gosh, this is a depressing episode of Gamestack
This was quite the
podcast.
drama-filled week. My goodness.
You guys, G4 has shut down less than a year after their highly anticipated relaunch. And I feel like people were really excited when the news came out that G4 was going to rebuild and rebrand and start again. But Comcast is shutting it down approximately 11 months after it launched. And the thing that really got me was that many employees of G4 learned that they were losing their jobs via Twitter.
I mean, I guess
Yeah,
that's
it's
how it's done in this
horrible.
day and age. You tell a few people, you line them up on the chopping block. After the first 2 or 3 people get chopped, everybody else finds out, like, oh my gosh, we're all going in. And yeah, I mean,
I can't.
it's like what just happened with Fanbite. With there have been a number of instances like this where it is not handled appropriately and people finding out on Twitter. G4 TV, that coming back, I was excited. You say excited. I was excited and confused.
Yes.
Okay, because G4 is awesome, was awesome. I was actually a big fan of a lot of it.
Same. I adored G4 back in the day.
Right up to the end, back
Yeah.
with Tech TV.
I had a
Extended
moment
Play,
there where I
X-Play.
thought, do I know G4? What's G4? And then, but it sounds so familiar.
Yep. And that was, I mean, G4 was its own thing. And then they
That brings
acquired
back
Tech
memories
TV.
now.
And all through the 2000s, you had Screensavers and Attack of the Show, X-Play. People know those. A lot of other shows. And it was a big thing. It kind of started fading because it wasn't doing great in the current TV climate. It went until about 2013, 2014, but really after 2012, it was kind of on the way out. You know what I mean? It was mostly wrestling and cops on the channel. And they had their couple of flagship shows.
So much cops. It was episodes of cops all the
But
time.
this one coming back was confusing because it was announced that it was going to happen, but there was no real date. And then the pandemic happened, COVID happened. And this is like, is this happening? Is this not happening? I do think that's going to be part of what happened to them. That the whole first year we heard they were coming back, they didn't actually. And then when they did start, they were on TV and YouTube and this and that, but there was never really a schedule, like channel listings. Like it all seemed, I don't know. There are any number of factors here. I'm just sorry to see it go, especially with, a lot of cool people working there doing cool things, but apparently it was not financially viable, according to Comcast.
They had really
It seems
built a
so
great
hard.
team. Yeah.
It seems so hard for anything to get any traction these days because all entertainment sources have become flooded and they're coming from everywhere. So competition is
Yes.
really, really high.
You're absolutely right, Sherry. Absolutely right. In a memo, Comcast CEO Dave Scott stated that viewership is low and the network has not achieved sustainable financial results. This is certainly not what we hoped for, and as a result, we have made the very difficult decision to discontinue G4's operations effective immediately. So, I feel like this was kind of inevitable. It didn't come together the way that I would like to have seen it come together. I feel like they never really had a solid direction in this new incarnation. I feel like they lacked that direction.
By about 6 months in, a lot of us who are maybe trying to keep up at least somewhat, we're like, okay, is this successful, is this not successful? I can't really tell. When I caught an episode of the new X-Play, I generally enjoyed it, but it just, I wasn't watching it on TV. Like so many people these days, I get my entertainment on Twitch, on YouTube, on other social media, and there is so much to choose from. Like you're saying, Sherrie, it's hard to stand out with everything happening. So the competition for them was much more fierce, and it wasn't ever advertised or pushed in a way that reached me. And I'm pretty plugged into these things. I don't touch grass that often, so I know what's up, at least in the internet landscape. But it was great seeing some favorites. I really enjoyed some of the new people coming in. They had some amazing talent going in there, doing some cool stuff, but I almost always heard about it too late after the fact, what's actually happening here,
Same. Wow, that was a depressing opening of the show, you guys.
Sure,
you did say it's been a week.
Let's talk about things that make me happy, you guys. Let's move on to some
good idea, because there are any number of other stories this week. We can skip ahead of some of those, though, right?
I think we should, yeah. You know what makes me happy? God of War's coming out soon. God of War Ragnarok. I'm really excited about it. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. 2018's God of War was just an absolute masterpiece in my opinion, and I can't wait. So I saw this article about God of War Ragnarok's development, and I thought I wanted to just check this out because it was a cute story. The game's development, it took a while, it takes time to make games. And of course, the voice actor for Atreus was a child when the work began, and children grow up. And his voice changed. The actor's voice changed while they were doing this, doing the recordings for this game. So they had to do some technical wizardry to balance the performance and make it sound all right. So Sony shared a video this week giving fans a behind-the-scenes look at the game. And so the team had to make some changes. A little quote from the video. Our actor for Atreus, Sonny, is a teenage boy, and his voice changed dramatically throughout several years on this title, explained Jody Kuzco, Ragnarok's supervising dialogue designer. We had to go in and even out that performance so that it sounds like it took place over a short period of time, and that was a unique challenge on this one. And I thought that was just so interesting. They also wanted to avoid compromising the story that they were telling based on the limitations that they had to deal with resulting from the pandemic. And cinematics were not changed, but they did have to get creative with how they shot the content in some cases. And in some cases, actors would stand in for other characters in some scenes so that they wouldn't have a situation where too many people were on set on any given day during the recording, because they were trying to keep some social distancing happening. This game is set to launch on November 9th, which is very, very soon, and I'm so excited for it. And I just thought that was kind of a cute story that his voice changed, and they had to do some work to make it work for the video game.
Getting some Brady Bunch flashbacks there in the middle of the scene from the Brady Bunch movie.
I had to work around that and incorporate it.
Mm-hmm. So another thing that makes me happy is my Xbox. I enjoy my Xbox, and I'd like to focus on things that make me happy, but this story's going to take a turn. It's going to take a turn, you guys.
No, stay happy. Stay happy about Xbox.
Well, I can't.
Why?
Because according to this article by the Video Game Chronicle, written by Tom Ivan, many studios are complaining about mandatory Xbox Series S compatibility. So, of course, the Series S launched alongside the Series X, and it is the cheaper alternative. It is less expensive, and it is also less powerful than the Series X. And according to this article, the Series S is holding back the development of some current gen games. And a developer at Bossa, who is named Ian McClure, states that it might sound broken, but the reason you're hearing this is because many developers have been sitting in meetings for the past year, desperately trying to get Series S launch requirements dropped. Studios have been through one development cycle where Series S turned out to be an albatross around the neck of production. And now that games are firmly being developed with the new consoles in mind, teams do not want to repeat the process. So this is something that we've talked about pretty recently. The fact that many problems have been caused by the insistence that the industry has had over the past few years to keep
about
games running
cross-gen
on past gen consoles, on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Of course, that was one of the major problems with the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. But the Series S, even though it is a less powerful machine, technically it is a current gen console.
And not only is it a current gen console, the specs mostly measure up. I think that to an extent they are scapegoating a little bit on this, to be honest. So you mentioned Ian McClure. He's a VFX artist. So they are scapegoating the Xbox Series S a little bit in this argument, saying it's to blame for holding some things back. Now, there are issues, but a lot of it has to do with, as far as I understand, memory buffer on the GPU specifically. You know, so it's people trying to do a lot with the graphics and, render the higher res textures and stuff. And so I get that that could actually be a bottleneck of sorts, or even an albatross. It's white. Good call. I like the term and phrase. That was clever. But there is a lot more to it. The hardware is comparable. If you're using lower res textures, there are so many graphical, visual niceties on there now. You know, you're talking about levels of ambient occlusion. You're talking about levels of anti-aliasing. You're talking about, in some cases, ray tracing. People implementing ray tracing in some games, like Gotham Knights coming out. You know, all these different niceties and effects that you're bringing in. For years, PCs have had sliders on, off, on, off. I can run many games that we're being told are possibly being held back, new gen games that have come out on a PC from 6-7 years ago. Now, I just built a new PC. So, I will admit that, 2014 did get a little long in the tooth in my house, but just 2 months ago, they were running, just had to turn some stuff down. So I think it has more to do with developers trying to maintain exact parity. And, for online co-op, Arkham Knight is one they were talking about that, where, if you have multiple people doing co-op, you need to have the game running the same. Competition games, if one person can play with ray tracing on, one person can play with ray tracing off, they're getting higher FPS, smoother frame rate, well, they're going to have an advantage now. So I get the parity argument, but making it run, being an albatross, I think that's overblown personally.
I agree. Optimization is something that is possible in today's day and age. And we see that in these incredibly gorgeous PlayStation exclusives that are coming to PC and running on very low recommended specifications. So if they're doing this with these formerly exclusive PlayStation titles, I think we can do it with everything.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, my only thought is that at the end of the day, it's the players, and not every player can afford the high-end machines. And so I think it's appropriate that there is these rules in place that accommodates players who cannot afford these, because you don't want to lock them out either.
I agree with you, Sherry. I agree.
The Series S was a boss move. We don't have exact figures, but rumors are that it is selling at least as well, if not outselling the Series X. It's an accessible console for a lot of people.
I think everybody who chose the Series S knew going into it that they weren't going to be getting as extraordinary of an experience as the players who chose the Series X.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you would still expect the games to play. It might not be
Yes.
as fancy, but it would still play.
Yes. And they were willing to give up that graphical fidelity to save some money and be able to, in many cases, that's the only way they're getting a current gen console in the house.
It's a legitimate choice.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. So I have
Exactly.
both a Series S and a Series X in my house. I also have a 1X and a 1S. This is not the first generation where we've had multiple
Yes.
levels of Microsoft consoles. The Series S is currently my primary streaming box. Why? Because if you're someone who's streaming, you're not going to put out more than 1080p most of the time anyway. You're people who do 4K streams, a lot of people have trouble watching them. You can only put so much
Yes.
through your bandwidth and through OBS and such. So they say the Series S is targeting 1440p a lot of the time, but it's not really. It's a 1080p machine. And when you purchase it, you do that knowing that that's the case. And you don't expect these games to necessarily be able to go any higher.
Yeah.
That's where the trade-off is, and the hardware should mostly support that. Like, I think it's just like I was saying, texture memory or some kind of memory buffer that they do have to make some compromises there. And hopefully that's something Microsoft can address as the console goes on. I know they've given statements in the past. In fact, in the article you were looking at, they mentioned they already made several hundred meg available to developers to play with more than was originally listed on the spec.
I know. I would be absolutely livid if I had a Series S and they started releasing games that didn't run on it.
Oh, horrible. Yeah.
And that's
I would be
not
too.
something that would be entirely unprecedented. When the Nintendo, was it the DSi or the 3DS XL? One of the DS SKUs was originally supposed to have parity with a lower SKU, and they did eventually start making games that only ran on the second one. So it wouldn't be entirely unprecedented to see this kind of thing happen, but it would be a darn shame.
Definitely a darn shame. I mean, I get consoles, people joke about, jokes. They're very serious. Console wars are very serious. Taking that last gen consoles held things back, like, oh, my PC can do this. They need to have a new Xbox. And we know that PS4 and Xbox One were released not quite as cutting edge as some generations have been. And so this generation, both the PS5 and the series consoles are a little more cutting edge. So let's not get on them already. Let's not already talk about parity and not living up. Technology goes forward. Okay, it does keep changing and improving, but the Series S won't be holding things back that much for a while, I think.
I agree.
Not everything's going to be able to handle the bigger things. I'm going to be picking up a No Man's Sky for my Switch this weekend, probably.
Oh,
Is
that's
that
a
on
really
the
good point.
Switch?
The Switch machine is a console, but it isn't a powerful console because it's
Of
a mobile
course,
console on the
yeah.
go. So it doesn't handle those big graphics. So you do lose a picture as installed of that, but it's still very valid because it's really handy to have a little mobile console to go with you if you have to go out some places and you don't want to be without a game in those spare times.
Absolutely. Skyrim looks terrible on the Switch, but I love it.
It does seem like
I've
some of
enjoyed
those.
playing Skyrim on my Switch on the train.
How about Witcher 3? Did any of you play that on the Switch? Like, it seems like some of those games maybe shouldn't have been released on the Switch,
I
but
think I actually did play some Witcher 3 on
Okay.
Switch, and it looked really bad, if I
Yeah.
recall rightly. I'm pretty sure it was like, it was, there was no scenery in the Switch version. It looked terrible. I'm trying to remember am I making this up or did I play this game on Switch?
I feel like you told us you had
I feel like
at
I
least
did.
tried it.
Let's find out.
We are now checking her
Yes.
Switch played history. Are there achievement equivalents on Switch? Not really, right? But there are some
No,
unlocks.
there's really not.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
No trophies or achievements. My goodness. Get with 2010, Nintendo.
I do like the achievements.
I mean, isn't it great?
This is why I don't have mods on my games on Xbox and stuff because I don't want to be locked out of those achievements.
We're gamers. We love the meta. If you can give me achievements or trophies. If you can give me a platinum or like 100% completion, I'm like, yes, I am achieving something. I have been productive today. I got 3 achievements. I didn't just sit here and work on my town for 3 hours and achieve nothing. No, not only do I now have a granary and 3 cows, I also got an achievement. So yeah, it
Yeah, I
makes
don't
us all feel
see it
better.
on. I don't see it here in my play history, so maybe I watched a video or something. I would have sworn I had played it though. Regardless, I can confirm that it did look terrible. But you know what doesn't look terrible? Resident
Tell
Evil
me.
Village's new DLC. It looks pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah. Let's talk about the Resident Evil showcase. There were some new things. This is a time for the spooky games right now. And Resident Evil Village has shown its DLC. It is going to be called what was it called? It stars Rose, who is Ethan's daughter. Spoilers, I guess. And it looks really cool. It looks really, really cool. I can't find the name of what this is called.
I think it's called the Winter's
The
Expansion.
Winter's Expansion.
Maybe Winter's Finale, something like that.
But it does look super cool. And they also, yes, the Winter's Expansion. Thank you. You were right. The Winter's Expansion. So she will be starring in the new story expansion, and it looks pretty cool. And it can be bought separately or as part of the Resident Evil Village Gold Edition. It also includes a new third-person mode for the main campaign and new content for the Mercenaries mode, which even lets you play as Lady Dimitrescu herself, although she will now be shorter in one of gaming's biggest disappointments of 2022.
Oh,
Yes.
to be fair, those would be difficult shoes to fill. So,
Well, I mean, that enormous hitbox would just not be fair for for everybody else. But the idea of a third-person mode for this game seems a little funny to me, because of the way that the protagonist's hands are just continually abused. I feel like it won't have the same effect in third person mode as it does when you're just watching your hands be just torn to bits and removed from your body and
oh my
sewn
goodness,
back
sliced
on.
and diced.
Is this the first time a Resident Evil has had third person?
No, I think some of the past titles were third person, but this is the first one in a while.
Yeah, definitely an option on some of the earlier PlayStation games. I remember seeing some third person.
Indeed.
But so I haven't played the most recent Resident Evils, but I believe you played Seven or Village with Rick, right, on Survival Horror Sundays?
I didn't play, but I sat through Resident Evil 7 with Rick while he played.
You were very
I
brave.
helped him solve the puzzles, and I screamed a lot. And I did make an attempt at playing Village myself. I did not make it very far. I don't think I ever made it out of the castle. But I can attest to the quality of these games. And I'm looking forward to seeing more. I hope that I can get Rick to play through Village for me so that I can experience the rest of that game. There is an online shooter, Resident Evil Reverse, that will be releasing on October 28th. It will be free for all owners of Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil Village Gold Edition. It will support crossplay, and there are locations and characters from Village that will be featured. They have plans for post-launch content, and there will be an early access period starting October 24th for everyone who owns Resident Evil Village. And also, Capcom announced that there will be some cloud versions of Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake coming to the Nintendo Switch. So, I wonder how those cloud versions work. I'm really curious about that. I've never tried that. And the games will all have demos, so you can check out how well they work for you. I think that's incredibly important because everybody's internet is different. Everybody has a different situation. And being able to check it out before you buy seems really important to me. Resident Evil Village will also be available on Max on October 28th. And the Winter's Expansion DLC will come at a later date. They've also shown new gameplay for Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Woohoo!
And it looks really good. Are you a fan of this, Jess? I heard that little happiness.
RE4 was a really cool. So I haven't played many REs. It was more of a sleepover, hanging out with friends kind of game. Watch them play, like not online like you and Rick, but actually like in the room.
Yes.
I'll watch someone else play Resident Evil. That's kind of most of my play. But 4 was fun, and 4 was one of the first that I actually got into and played a bit because it was a little bit more of a shooter, a little bit more comfortable. I was not as scared of being jump scared. Thank goodness. Yeah, I enjoyed 4, and people have liked the remake so much that the idea of 4 getting a remake, I don't know. I feel like it's going to hit an even broader audience, maybe.
Yeah. 4 is really widely considered to be a masterpiece and just one of the games that's a cornerstone in the industry. And I really wanted to like it. I gave it a try multiple times, and I thought it was a terrible game.
Really? You thought it was terrible?
I
really?
thought it was terrible. And the reason that I thought it was terrible was the controls. I thought the controls were just unspeakably bad. You can't walk and shoot at the same time. And without nostalgia goggles to make up for that, it wasn't for me.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, at the time, shooters were very different. They were mostly on PC, and when they were on console, they were very awkward. Controls were often tank controls. That's part of the horror of some early horror games and such. And so, no, they didn't control well. And I'm sure for these days going back, I might feel the same about it.
But the remake, of course, will not have those terrible controls. So it's much more appealing to me. And hopefully it will not be a terrible game in my estimation. I want to see what everyone loves. I want to share the love. And you know what else I've never really understood? Silent Hill, the Silent Hill series. It looks so scary to me. I just can't. I can't even watch videos.
True psychological horror. Yes. Yeah. If Resident Evil was more survival horror and relying on jump scares at first, especially, Silent Hill is just freaky. So I've never been a fan of the games either. I actually kind of enjoyed the movie. Another one I've watched people play. I've played the Whispering Hills mod for Fallout 4 based on Silent Hill.
Yes.
But actual Silent Hill games, no, haven't played. But I hear the big news is being made by one of your favorite companies.
Indeed. We have so much news here. Konami is really... You're talking about Bloober Team, of course.
I'm talking about your friends Bloober Team who made the Medium. Yes.
Yes. Bloober Team is working on a Silent Hill game. And these guys, man, the Medium, they made the Medium. And the Medium was really good for a little while. And then it took a turn, and you can watch through our reactions on youtube.com/we just love games if you'd like to see that. Bloober also made a game called what was it called?
Layers of Fear.
Layers of Fear. There was another one. Layers of Fear made me nauseated. I really want to love you, Bloober Team.
I discovered that from a Kind of Funny Let's Play, and they did part of the reveal and stuff like that. So that one I thought looked kind of neat. It was like Haunted House the game. I enjoyed it a bit. They made
like a cyberpunk style detective game, and I rage quit it live on stream. That's the only time that's ever happened to me. I was so angry at this game. I rage quit it live on the air.
Let's see. I'm checking out what they had made, and I'm not sure which one you mean. I mean, I know that they were working on the Blair Witch game.
The Blair Witch...
Observer. Observer.
Oh, that
thank
game.
You. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was so bad. It made me so angry. I did play a few hours of the Blair Witch game and thought it was good. So I will give them that. But yeah.
And Observer had a lot of fans. Just the premise was odd, the way that they portrayed cyberpunk and then jacking into people's heads to, witness things and figure out puzzles. It was frustrating.
I hated that game so much. I just, Bloober Team, man, Bloober Team. I hope they do a good job with Silent Hill. This franchise is so deeply beloved, and I hope they don't mess it up.
People say Silent Hill 2, especially. A lot of the messaging around it, a lot of the main thread of it is well, it's psychological horror and dealing with disabilities and personal traumas and mental health issues. And people worry that Bloober Team's going to be a little bit blunt with it because they have been with the medium.
Yeah,
But-
there was
but
just
we'll
no
see.
nuance there, was there? Just very, yeah. They just, the fists were made of hams. It was terrible, terrible. Gosh, what is? I just the news today. The news.
It's been a week, Shaline. It has been a week.
You guys have anything else to say about Silent Hill?
I am silent on Silent Hill.
Okay.
We'll find out.
The hills are alive, and they're also silent. and let's move on along. We're gonna skip Gamestack again this week because once again I forgot to put it together.
Some stonks are up, some stonks are down. Check your portfolio yourself, you lazy.
Exactly what she said. But we do have some mail today that I wanted to go through.
You've got mail.
Ooh, mail stack. Exciting.
Mail stack, and we usually take these in order, but we have one that's a little timely, so I wanted to skip ahead and tackle this one right now. Fire and Gasoline earlier this morning said, "Good morning all. I have a question for the crew. It's spooky season. What games or movies do y'all like to play or watch to get in the Halloween spirit? Personally, I'm too chicken to play actual horror games, but I love seasonal events in other games such as Fallout 76, Destiny 2, or Animal Crossing. What about everyone else?" And I will address that to you ladies. Sherry, what do you like in terms of movies or video games for spooky season?
If I'm playing Elder Scrolls Online, and if I'm playing it, I would probably dress up my characters in Halloweeny outfits and their mounts and pets to match. That's probably my Halloweeny theme that I would be doing type of thing. Other than that, probably nothing really much else. No movies or anything watched. It just passes by. I do like a pumpkin spice latte though too.
Can't go wrong there. Tell me, Sherry, can you dress up the mounts and the pets? Do they have outfits as well?
No, but I have many, many mounts and pets, so I've got many to choose from to I have various Halloween themed mounts. One is quite a few of them are based on the Headless Horseman.
Right.
So when
yeah.
when your character's on the mount, your character is then headless.
Oh, that's fun.
And usually, like some of them are carrying a flaming pumpkin in one hand while
Yeah.
riding a horse.
I love it. Yeah, I ask because Sea of Thieves has pet outfits, and that's one of my favorite things is to buy outfits for my little pets in Sea of Thieves.
Lots of costumes too, and also what do you call them? Disguises, morphs. I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, you can like go around looking like a skeleton or something like that as well. Stuff like that.
Fun. Jess, how about you? What do
or a
you
zombie.
like for Halloween time?
Well, I keep spooky season in my heart all year round, as I'm sure you're aware. But, come September 1st, I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. Okay, well, I've already got my pumpkin spice, but I'll drink more of it. And it's officially spooky season on. It has to last at least 2 months, maybe a little longer. So I don't have specific games that I play for the season, but I do love overindulging in any kind of spooky content in games I play. So like Sherry is talking about with ESO, in Fallout games, I will download mods. I mentioned Whispering Hills. I also, get Halloween decoration mods. I will, dress everything up in Fallout 4, Skyrim, all that. Download those kind of mods. In Fallout 76, which, as you know, I play a lot these days, it's all about the spooky camp building. And I have a few friends of a similar bent to me. So we're all doing, spooky stuff with our camps, visiting. On my camp showcase last night on stream, I showed 4 camps, and it was fantastic. We saw a remake of Disney Haunted Mansion built in game. We saw a really great mausoleum, and with a pet mausoleum too, a little pet cemetery. It was so adorable and sweet. We saw a spooky witch hut and then the Claw Apothecary, all spooky themed, all witchy. It's wonderful. I love people get into the game. So, I kind of gravitate towards people who do that. But beyond that, Halloween games, I mean, I love like Costume Quest is a great one and Costume Quest 2.
Yes.
For adventure games, just some of my favorite spooky games. Did you ever play like the original Phantasmagoria?
No, I've never heard of that.
Well, that's a Sierra game. That was Roberta Williams, not
Oh, so that's
Phantasmagoria
back in the
2.
day.
Yeah, this is a late 90s game. Phantasmagoria was FMV, spooky, kind of Stephen King based. It was a fun one. I really enjoyed that. And there's a lot of great adventure games. I'm always advocating things like Edith Finch. It's got more of a gory kind of feel, ghastly crumb tinies kind of feel as opposed to spooky, but that's my kind of spooky. Not jump scares, not gore fests, but, spooky, dark, Nightmare Before Christmas. Now we're getting the movies. Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, anything Burton-esque, I love. The Worst Witch was my favorite Halloween movie as a kid. I love The Worst Witch still, So yeah, that's what I do. Is silly, fun, spooky. If it has stripy tights, I'm in. How about you, Shaline?
I love that. I'm also a big Tim Burton fan, so I definitely try to check out Nightmare Before Christmas around this time of year. And I haven't seen Corpse Bride in so long. I used to just watch that like every day for a couple of years in my youth.
That's amazing.
Yes, it was one of those touchstone films for me. I really enjoy, guys, I've talked a lot about how much I don't like to build in video games, but I do enjoy decorating seasonally. Last year in Fallout 76, Archon and I built spooky houses. We had a lot of fun with that, building little spooky houses.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. So I've been really feeling the urge to go and see if I can improve my little spooky house. And in Animal Crossing, I also have a little spooky house. And I'm looking forward to putting up all of my spooky decorations. It's definitely time for that. I love the outfits in games, all of the little Halloween-y outfits, and sometimes I wear them out of season. I will wear the witch dress out of season, or because why not?
Absolutely.
Yes, enjoy that kind of thing very much. Let's see. There was a time when I used to go through and replay the Halloween section of Bully every year for Halloween.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Bully. That's an old Rockstar game for those who haven't played it. Another game deserving of a sequel that will probably never come. But yeah, the Halloween section, really?
Yes. Bully has a great Halloween section where you spend the night being a naughty teen and you smash some pumpkins, and it's a great time. And I really liked that. So I used to play that every year. I haven't done that in several years, though.
Well, it sounds like maybe it could make a comeback if you have a way to play it.
I'm sure it probably has backwards compatibility. So you may have to
Also,
check that out.
if you and Archon want, or anyone else on the crew on PC, let's go make our own Mischief Night. I know you were talking about how you kind of miss that.
I loved Mischief Night. I think Mischief Night was maybe my favorite Fallout 76 seasonal event. And I would absolutely be down for making our own Mischief Night.
Put on costumes. Let's break some cars. Slap some ghouls. It'll be fun.
Yes, I am for it. Absolutely for it. Yeah, so let's go through a couple of listener responses. RTZ13 in the Discord said that they don't do well with horror, but are getting in the mood too. And the plan is Pumpkin Jack and Ghostbusters Remastered. Vodka Knockers stated that he recently started playing Back for Blood after the DLC went on sale, and he always enjoys slaying Zeds in State of Decay 2, especially now that players can unlock horror and thriller-themed outfits and weapons with this month's bounty pack, and also on board with seasonal events in Fallout 76.
Oh, I'm excited about that actually. Vodka Knockers mentioning their unlock horror thriller themed outfits and weapons in the bounty pack. So I enjoyed State of Decay 2. I never went back for Juggernaut Edition when it came out. I played the first year for about 2-3 months. I played, but 76. I can't stick with any game that long when I'm
Yeah.
doing that. And but the idea of a Halloween theme pack in there, that would be fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We also had some responses in our live chat. Joseph Tao states that AC Valhalla has the Oscara event going on right now with Norse and Saxon related seasonal stuff, which sounds really fun. And Sulior is talking about some zombie skins in ESO and a pumpkin carving memento. Lee Benjamin says that he likes Hocus Pocus, but hasn't seen the new one yet.
Oh, get on that, Lee. I haven't either, but I'm hearing so many good things.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either. I want to rewatch the original before I.
That's my thought too. I want to
one.
rewatch the original too before I watch the new one as well.
Yeah. And Archon wants to finish the second floor of his spooky house, which is still unfinished. We never really decided what to do with that second floor, so we'll have to figure that out.
I mean, it's scary how empty it is, maybe. Just like let the cobwebs roll through. Add a clown. Clowns are always spooky.
It's an anxiety sort of fear because, it's that emptiness. What are we going to do? Sulior says that he likes playing Ghostbusters game every year or two around this time. And Taz says State of Decay is a good spooky time. So, yeah, that was a great discussion. So I really enjoyed that. And that wraps up the mail stack for today. Let's roll into what the community is playing. I don't have the bumper for that, but we're just gonna roll right into it.
We can make one up. We can make up a song.
Do you want to? Do it.
Community plays. What are you playing? Screenshots and stories. Tell me, Maurice. Okay. No, that wasn't great, but I tried.
I liked it. I think it needs a fanfare at the end, like da 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 da.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, jazz hands.
Mm-hmm.
Everything better.
Gorgeous. These first screenshots come from Taz. They are from Farm Simulator. This one says morning, fall, sunrise on the farm. Can somebody describe for the audio folks what is going on in this screenshot?
Do you have this up, Sherry?
Yes, it looks like a field with a vehicle in the middle of it. And I see orange and green trees in the distance. It looks very farmy, and it looks like definitely farmy.
Looks like they need to plant some stuff. Yeah.
It is a field, but it is a bit bare. It just looks ready to plant, or if there has been planted something, it's too small to see with my eye.
What is going on with the next one? Is this a toilet paper truck?
This next one, it looks like he's hauling giant marshmallows. Let's see what he has to say. Running a load of silage bales in from the field. They absolutely look like giant marshmallows, though.
I thought toilet paper rolls, just extra large, Paul Bunyan style. I don't know.
They look like bales of something, but they're the wrong color. I mean, if something you've taken from the land, I don't think it would be like so starched white.
It does look a little like TP rolls too.
A starched process is something happens long after it's been taken as a crop.
The silage is wrapped in plastic, says Taz. Thank you for the clarification.
All right.
And this next one, I can't really understand what's going on there. Let's see. He says, preparing to take a load of windmill ground flour to the farmer's market that was ground in the farm's grain windmill.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And wrapped in plastic. How environmental friendly is all that plastic?
Hopefully it can be recycled. But yeah, this with the windmill, it's kind of like a grist mill pouring in. That makes sense. This is a cool game. I mean, I do not play these kind of sim games very often. The truck simulators, the farm simulators. It's different.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed watching these be played a lot more than playing them myself. So our next one is a set of screenshots from Grounded. Sater posted these, exploring the backyard in Grounded. Sherry, do you want to describe this one?
Yes, like what? Oh, we see a little figure is in a garden, in their garden, and there's a little a gnome or goblin sort of thing just over the fence on the other side. I think they're pointing at the goblin or pointing away from the goblin, saying, "Water that over there, please," to the goblin. Obviously,
So cute. And
it's very colourful. There's greens and purples and a brown fence in the distance. It looks very appealing to the eye. So I think it's a great picture.
And this next one is also from Grounded from Seder. This one is absolutely an homage to The Nightmare
To the
Before
Nightmare Before
Christmas.
Christmas. Yes, I was just thinking that.
Yes, it looks just like that iconic scene where Jack Skellington is standing out on that curling ledge situation. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous screenshot. Seder takes
I
such good screenshots.
I like the art style in this too. It's neat about Grounded being, the kind of Honey I Shrunk the Kids the game. The amount of foreshortening they do and a depth of field, like it makes it everything feel miniature. It really works. Like to have something that large on screen yet feel miniature, it's great. It looks really good.
Absolutely. And the final one is this screenshot of some kind of a skull. The character is inside the mouth of a skull.
It looks like a bear claw,
You
a
think?
bear fist. Yeah, like you want to punch something with it.
Yes, it does.
Well, I think it looks like a giant rat skull
Mm-hmm.
or some sort of creature related to a rat.
Like a mole rat, maybe.
Because it's like
Yeah.
two long front fangs at the front.
Yes, and then the bottom mandible there.
Yeah, and there's like it's very a lot of lighting is used with this photo. The light is coming in from one side, glowing up a part of the skull, while the other side is in darkness with dark colors of greens and browns. It's a very nice picture.
It
I have to
definitely fits
say-
our spooky season theme.
Grounded looks so neat right now. I love what they did with it. I'm glad it's in 1.0 release. Supposedly there's a whole story now. People just getting into it seem to really be enjoying it. Did either of you guys play Grounded?
No, this one didn't really appeal to me, so I haven't played it.
No, I've never played this one.
Yeah, it's a survival game. And so I know our friend Sarah, who couldn't be here, she played a bit of it with her family, and a lot of people getting into Grounded. It is definitely a survival game, and it's even kind of hard and a little bit hardcore from what I hear. But now that there's a story, there's things to focus on, always something to do. And so if you like survival or you like cute, it's got a good mix of both. And I hear the building isn't bad in it.
Absolutely. That sounds worth checking out.
Don't look into it.
Well, if you would also like to be a part of our What You're Playing community screenshots and stories segment, you can submit your screenshots and stories to our Discord in the Screenshots and Stories channel. It's as simple as just posting your screenshot and writing a little caption with it, and we love to see those. And the next thing we are going to do is move right on to our own gameplay. Sherry, what you been playing?
I have been playing the last month. I played Disney's Dreamlight Valley on launch, and I got completely obsessed with it. And speaking of the whole farming thing, I have now farmed quite a lot of pumpkins, and I've also got out the old calculator and Excel spreadsheets to figure out the way to make the most fortune with pumpkins. There's a lot of debate online on the best way to make your fortune in Dreamlight Valley, because you want your fortune to buy costumes and furniture and other pieces that you can then do interior designing or village designing and so on, and that costs. So everyone wants to make that little the currency in the game to get that. And so there's been some debate over the pumpkins, the best way, what dish to make the most profit. And then other people say, yes, you might make the most profit making these dishes, but you've also got to count in the time that you spend making it. So you might as well just sell the pumpkins without making anything. Even if you're going to get less money, at least you save more time spent
Right.
because there's less grind. You'll still make quite a lot of buck, so to speak. And also there's been disagreements over which dish makes the most money, so to speak. But the calculations have come in, and it is indeed the pumpkin puffs that make the most. So if anyone says differently, they are wrong, because I have even worked it out myself in the Excel spreadsheet. It's
It would be
pumpkin
a
puffs.
shame if it was not the pumpkin puffs this time of year. So
I feel like that's how you know when the gameplay is fire, is when you have to resort to an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes. Definitely.
I love it.
And I have the characters in game are fun, and I maxed out everything in the game, and so I was just at the point where I was just making preparing for the next update on the game, where I was just making some in-game money, and making sure I had lots of resources, so when the next update came, I can then be quite ready for it, and I am ready for it. And the new update did come the other day with the with Scar from The Lion King,
Yeah.
and I have it because I have actually now have not spent that much time. I only dipped in for a few minutes to meet Scar for the first time, and started on doing his quest. And I'll get back to that doing more, but I have been got sidetracked and a bit obsessed with No Man's Sky again. So Dreamlight's just taken a bit of a backseat to No Man's Sky right now. But I'm just so obsessed. I've got No Man's Sky running on my Xbox, and I've got my old legacy save of No Man's Sky on my old PS4 as well, which last few days I've been on my PS4 on doing the main Atlas quest.
Right.
Because I never finished all the quests. I barely started them. So I started doing the Artemis quest first, and then I saw something online saying, oh no, you should do the Atlas quest first, because apparently if you finish the Artemis quest, you'll be locked out of the Atlas quest or something like that, I heard. So now I'm doing the Atlas quest. I'm focusing on that.
So is there
that's
a
where I
lot of
am
new
right now.
content that's been added to No Man's Sky since the last time you played?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Do you feel like it's like game-changing content, or is it just like new fun stuff?
New fun stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, when the game first launched 6 years ago, I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, I know people were complaining, but I felt that they were unjustified.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was exactly the game I thought it was going to be, and I had a lot of fun. Now I'm playing it, and there is more to it, but my gameplay isn't much different from what it was 6 years ago.
Right.
So whatever.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying at the moment. I've just been getting some new want some new ships as well. I want to get those fancy S-class ships, so I'm starting a little collection, which is making me quite in-game poor, because this morning I bought an S-class exotic, my first exotic, which was like 20 million units, and now I have hardly any units left. So I need to find more crash ships around, and then put the crash ships in and scrap them and get money back for those, so I can make some money again.
Yeah. Joseph in chat wants to know if you have any of those weird living ships.
No, I'm far away from that. I'm despite playing on and off this game for some years since launch, I am barely very far into the game. I'm nowhere near where other people are, and a living ship is far away from wherever I am right now.
So that's like end game content.
Yeah, that's a fancy ship. I've seen people in game with those, with the living ship on the anomaly and stuff, and it's like,
Yeah. I've seen screenshots of Pantagruelias, and I think they look really, really cool. So
yeah, they are really neat. A lot of friends have them. It's kind of a goal for some people, but only if that's what you're into. And I know you love setting up the early game market stuff and building stuff and all that, Sherrie.
Yeah, I like setting myself up a cozy home and stuff, and establishing myself. If I can't do it in real life, I'll do it in game.
I love that. I can absolutely identify with that. Anything else, Sherrie?
I think that's about it for me. Just mostly Dreamlight and No Man's Sky. I've got some other games, which just dipped my foot into, but I think I'll save that for other times when I've actually given them enough time to actually talk about them.
Fabulous, Sherrie. Thank you. Jess, what have you been playing?
Well, not a whole lot new to speak of. I am this time of year and life in general, I am just deep into my own bull. Loving what I love. It's Fallout all the time and Dragon Age, which I've talked to you guys about that I got back into Dragon Age a couple months ago. You would think it's been 2.5 months now, I'd be done. But it's like the first month I played about 90 hours in a month. Second month I got like 35. This month, not even. I need to finish it so I can, play other games on the side. But mostly Dragon Age and, of course, Fallout 76. We had the launch of Expeditions, which I know y'all have talked about a bit. And so that content really brought me in there in September and done a lot of it. Some nights I've even done 2 or 3 in a night. If friends want to run, I'll do more. I enjoy it. It's funny. For me, it's the kind of repeatable content that really appeals, even more than some events. And I've never been a grinder, but expeditions have enough step and then step and then step. Plus, they're on the challenges or the homework, as you like to call it, that, there's a good excuse to do them too. So I've run a few with Archin. I've run a lot with our ASA podcast friends and, of course, with my UWN friends. So yeah, that's really me. 76 and Dragon Age is all my free time, but I've also been playing the game of mods.
Ooh, what are you modding?
And well, I am resetting up my Fallout 4. So I got the Series X a couple months ago, but I didn't have it set up for my old game. So I have been installing my Skyrim up here and all the mods I was running on my main game, and then Fallout 4, all the mods running on my main game. And then I'm like, well, this main game on 4 was from last year. So now I'm redoing them and getting that set up. But the more important mods is I am finally going to be playing Fallout 1. Finally playing the isometric Fallout.
Okay. I am looking forward to experiencing this vicariously through you.
You are going to experience it more than just vicariously through me. So we haven't announced it yet, but we got successfully working on Andrew's machine from the Fallout feed, and Ray has it installed from the Fallout feed. So our next roundtable
Are we doing a
on the Fallout feed is going to be Fallout 1. Yes,
I'm in, Jess. I'm in.
So I've got it installed. It's funny because I owned it on so many systems because I joke that, you got it free in a box of cereal. You purchase anything from Bethesda, you get Fallout 1 and 2 the last decade. And so a lot of copies. So it's installed. And there are different mod packs. I'm using one called Fixed that does some great upgrades, allows higher res and stuff like that, and doing some tweaks there. So it's looking really pretty. I've done character generation once. I'm going to do it on stream and record it too once I actually make some decisions. I don't want to have to read all the minutia and tool tips, in front of everybody. So figuring it out. But yeah, so I'm excited to get that started, and that'll be any day now. To have to hammer out the schedule because we're not doing a show this week. We're doing our whole Halloween special. So, we're going to announce it next week officially. But hey, crossover fans, people listen to both. There you go.
I do want to take the opportunity to just really recommend to people, read the manual, download a PDF of the manual, read the manual. It makes such a difference. Please read the manual.
Yes,
it's the
I did download
in being
the PDF.
Successful and not being successful.
There are a lot of words in this game. I mean, I can see already, which is great. I love it. I mean, I like classic RPGs. I played plenty of 90s isometric. So this is not outside the realm of normal for me, but it'll be cool. And I mean, it's Fallout's 25th anniversary this month.
Yes.
I'm so much stuff happening. It is time.
I think the manual also has a recipe in it. I think.
A recipe?
I feel like there's a recipe on the back page of the OG Fallout.
For Nuka-Cola? For making your own mini nuke?
I don't remember what the recipe is for. Almost certainly it's a recipe for success, though. But there is a recipe and there's fun lore in there. So even if you don't want to participate in the roundtable, it is worth checking out if you love Fallout lore. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm excited for this, Jess. What else are you working on?
That's pretty much it for my gameplay. Just multiple Fallouts and getting stuff set up for the next game I'm playing. If I can wrap Dragon Age. In fact, since I'm on the edge of vacation, I might mainline Dragon Age for a couple days. Just get it done. Get it over with.
So, my dear, you know that I do love me some Dragon Age, and I
Hmm.
can't hold myself back from asking, what are you up to in Dragon Age? What are you doing?
Where am I at right now?
Yeah.
Well, I actually recently did Here Lies the Abyss. So we went to the Fade,
Hmm.
um, and everyone came back except for Stroud.
Mm.
But Hawk did come
R.I.P.
back. I couldn't sacrifice my Hawk. Can I just say, seeing my Inquisitor and my Hawk together, because
Yes.
in the middle of the game when it says, "Do you want to design your own Hawk?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm
Of
recreating my
course
Hawk
I
from
do.
two." Like, so there's an hour in the middle of a game like Sherry. Normally, you design a character at the beginning. Like, I know you love character creators as much as I do.
Hmm.
This is a chance in the middle of a game to do that. So, anyway, I have just finished that. I'm about 6 regions down. I finished the Western Approach,
Hmm.
and I went to Ampre de Leon in order to get the last of the red lyrium there for Varric for his personal quest. So I'm about to do Varric Bianca I have coming up. And I
Hmm.
have to decide, am I going to, the palace for Empress Shaline to do that quest? Because I've been putting that off all this time for these other regions. Or do I go into one of the next? I have 3 left. I have whatever the Green Forest region is, uh, most of Ampre de Leon, and the Hissing Wastes up in the
Hmm.
northwest of the map beyond that area. And then, of course, the DLC regions. I haven't
Right.
done either the one with the Avar or the one with the Darkspawn. So there, I'm about 2/3 of the way through. I think you would say. I'm loving it. Um, I happen to have a boyfriend. His name is
Ooh.
Solus. You may have heard of him. I did not
No!
avoid the trap. No,
No! Just
I couldn't
no!
help it. I tried flirting with others, but it didn't feel right. I'm 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 just not that into you other characters.
Oh, that's so funny. That
So
is
yeah,
so
I
funny.
I am a soulless mancer, a soul of Ellen for life.
Wow.
I This character
So
is a lot like last time I played, but what are you gonna do? You know?
I understand. I absolutely do. Yeah. Enjoy your heartbreak, Jess. And
Oh God, maybe not this time though. I mean, Shaline, I can help him.
do you think he can change? Do you think he
I'm
can
sure I can give him a
change?
hand.
Yes, you can. Yes. God, you're my favorite, Jess. I love you. Do you have any other gameplay for the week?
No, that's it. How about you?
Well, I've played, of course, some Fallout 76, a constant part of my life. I am trying to keep up with the homework, as always. So one of my a part of my routine is after I get home from work, have some dinner, I'll sit down with Archon and we'll just run through the daily challenges. And he actually hit scorecation yesterday, so that was exciting news. I am somewhere around level 70, so I am a little farther behind. I'm not nearly as dedicated as he is. This man is going to finish 2 scoreboards before I finish the one.
It's great because he does it on Xbox too. I think he's not quite done the chore board there.
Yeah,
So
he's at like level 90 on Xbox.
yeah, he's ahead of me on Xbox while still having finished PC. It's
He's
fantastic.
ridiculous. Ridiculous. I did do some asylum runs this week. I'm still on the quest to get all of those asylum nurse outfits. I've never managed to find one of the rare colors in the wild in the asylum on my own. All the ones that I have were either gifted to me or I found them in a
Hmm.
vending machine. And I would really love to just find one someday. It would make me feel fulfilled. Um, you were talking about the expedition content earlier, and something that I really enjoy about the expedition content, I think I enjoy it even more than the expeditions themselves, is some of the ambient content that is happening in the White Springs. Aside from that, there's a couple dozen, I think, little random encounters that you can experience in the White
I
Spring.
love those.
And I ran into one a couple of days ago. There was this ghoul, and he was in there. He was just desperately thirsty, and the only thing that would quench his thirst was something called a fungal bungle, uh, which apparently was a special drink that he used to get back in the pit. And he had found a bartender robot that knew how to make it, but it was broken. So I patched up this robot, and the guy was so happy, and I was happy because I did a good deed. And I was even happier when I realized that a fungal bungle was added to my inventory.
Did you look at it in your inventory?
Yes!
It's like a
sounds
big old
delicious.
jar.
It's so funny. So funny.
Sherry,
Does it taste like mushrooms?
I don't think we can actually drink it. Can you eat the fungal bungle on him? I don't think so. Or drink it.
I think you can consume the fungal bungle. It's,
Oh, no.
It's in the foods menu.
But
So,
don't. It's
I
not
didn't.
yours.
No, it's precious. I will protect the fungal bungle. But it's really funny. I was so tickled by that. I have also been playing some Fallout Shelter. I wanted to check out the new content, and I've been running through those new Fallout Shelter quests. I haven't quite finished the quest line yet. They've added aliens to the game, and they're actually pretty cute. They're adorable,
They are.
adorable little aliens.
What system are you playing on, by the way?
iPad.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I need to mention, we thought initially that the updated content and new quest was not coming to Xbox or PlayStation, only the Android and iPhone
Yeah, I thought it was only mobile.
versions. Turns out, I logged in. I was playing last night. I got the new cafeterias, the new residential areas, and some of the new stuff. I've got the Halloween quest, so at least some of it we have.
Fabulous.
But I
That's
didn't get all
fantastic.
the free like Nuka Colas and stuff that you guys probably did, and lunch boxes.
Yeah, I did. I liked the new aliens. There are some new weapons and gear. And it took me a while to actually remember how to play the game, but I am having a ton of fun with it again. So that's been an interesting little diversion. I never expected to go back to Fallout Shelter. I did not expect them to add content 4 years later, but it's been a fun time. And that's really all I've been doing lately in terms of gameplay. I haven't had a ton of time. And I think that's also a show, you guys. Yeah.
Well, I know I've enjoyed it. We might have started on a down note, talked about some pretty serious stories and stuff like that, but great to talk with you all about them, and great to hear about your gameplay.
I love hanging out with you guys, and I'm so glad that you were both able to join me today. Do you guys have
too.
anything that you want to plug?
Well, sure. Let me just toss out my socials real quick, if that's okay.
Please do.
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter at sleepisfortea. Just search Jessica Star Fallout on all the things, because I love me some Fallout and other games too, but mostly Fallout. I stream on United Wastelanders Network. We do camp showcases, all kinds of entertainment, various shows. It's a great time, and I'm off next week, so there might be extra streams if you stop by.
Yay.
Just stay tuned. Who knows? But yeah, so that's the excitement I want to plug. Also, I don't know if any listeners follow my work at the El Gato Pub with my friend Shreds, but we're giving away an Xbox Series X tomorrow. So if you follow the channel, try to tune into our cat fights after 8 p.m. Eastern. There's a chance that if you're a follower, you could win a console. So just want to mention that.
Very exciting.
My I have accounts on Twitch and YouTube. If you want to look at my content, it's both my tag on both is Foxsid, FOXSYD.
The coolest.
So-
You've got such a cool, memorable username, Sherry. I just want to say that.
I, think
I
it's a great
picked it up
tag.
in around about 1996 and has managed to keep it. Most things
Nice.
I've been able to use it. There's been a few things I haven't been able to use it, like on the PS4 PS network, which I'm really annoyed about. I've had to make it Fox's-Sherry on the PC. There.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much. And if you enjoyed this show, you will most likely enjoy the show that we all do together, Dames Who Game. So definitely check that out on podcast platform of your choice. And it's not just us. We are also joined by Sarah Saylor, another Sarah, and Pantagruelia on that show. So definitely check us out on there. And again, we are sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. You can visit oakandcrow.com to buy a bag of We Just Love Coffee, our special coffee blend. And $2 from your purchase will go to benefit the Children's Miracle Network. You can email us at info@wejustlovegames.com, info@wejustlovegames.com. Find the network on Twitter at We Just Love Games. Find me on Twitter at Shaline L, ShaLinel. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/WeJustLoveGames or join the group at facebook.com/group/WeJustLoveGames. Join our Discord, which is probably the best way to stay in touch with the hosts and members of the community. And you can do that by clicking the link here on our Twitch page at twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. That link is live whether or not the channel is. Alternately, you can shoot me a message on social media and I'll get you a link to the Discord. We record the show live at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time every Friday, but not next Friday, sorry. And you can also find the recordings on YouTube, find the audio on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all the places where you would expect to find a podcast. Please like, subscribe, review the show, share it with your friends. Thank you for listening. Ladies, do any of you have a last word?
Yes, let's all go get some fungal bungle.
It sounds delicious. I have some tomato juice though, which I do have, and vodka.
Yum. You had me at vodka. Also tomato juice.
I don't have any celery though. I've got parsley. I'm not sure if parsley would work with tomato juice and vodka. I'm not going to try that.